This is a complete guide to Diamond Dynasty that you need to watch if you're a beginner in MLB The Show 23. MLB The Show 23 is almost here. I think we're about a week away recording this video. Super stoked to be playing a different game than MLB The Show 22, but that means we have a lot of new things we need to learn with MLB The Show 23. Since I've been playing Diamond Dynasty for a very long time, I want to put together a guide to help you guys out that maybe haven't been able to play it as much as I have. This is meant to be a beginner's guide, but there'll also be some more in-depth things I'll talk about throughout this entire video. Without further ado, let's get right into it. So obviously, we don't have access to MLB The Show 23 right now, so we're going to pretend that this is MLB The Show 23, and this is the first time you're loading into the actual game. In the top right, there is a settings gear right there. I'm not going to talk about that in this video, but I will have a future video on that, so make sure you guys are looking out for that and being ready for it. We're going to go ahead and dive down into Diamond Dynasty, since that's what this video is totally about. Now, it might look a little bit different when we actually load in MLB The Show 23, but it should look pretty similar to what we have right here. Now, when you first do go into Diamond Dynasty, there'll be some little things you guys will have to do to actually get into the mode. I think it's like play a couple innings, complete some collections. There's just these little small things to do until you get into Diamond Dynasty. So this will be right after that. So the first tab we're looking at right here, we have Manage Squad, Customize, Standing Stats and History, and Player Updates. I'm going to go ahead and talk about the Manage Squads because there's kind of some important things that will be in MLB The Show 23. But right here is technically where you have all your stuff for Diamond Dynasty. So you're trying to get all these cards to build an entire God Squad and then compete in ranked seasons. Now, I know this is going to look a little bit different in MLB The Show 23. It's going to have the same concept. There'll be some different areas for your team builds. But again, this is just where you're trying to build the team that you want to use in ranked seasons and try to dominate people. Now, one really important feature they are adding, which kind of goes with this Managed Squad, is a captain. Now, there'll be different sets of cards that'll be labeled as captains, but essentially, if you build a team around the captain, it'll give you extra boost to your attributes, which could be a huge thing, especially in the beginning of the game. So I know for sure there's an Jose Altuve card, where if you put enough Houston Astros on your team, it'll actually boost all the guys on the team. This is a new concept in MLB Show 23, which we've been asking for a very, very long time, but it could be really super powerful in MLB Show 23. So make sure you guys are on the lookout for that. We'll have some more videos kind of detailing all that later. The next tab is just a customization tab, kind of to change your team name, edit uniforms, the equipment, everything. It's a fun thing to do. You definitely don't have to do it, but just another added thing to Diamond Dynasty. It's a really cool thing. So you can build your jerseys however you want them. We will have WBC content in there as well, so make sure you guys are using that. And then we have the standings and stats and history. This is kind of just a free-for-all right here. The standings will go about everything encapsulated in online play. So right here, this has to do with ranked seasons. So you get a certain rating, kind of try to bounce up as high as you can. And there's some people like in the 1400s. It's kind of a crazy thing. There are some really good people in MLB The Show and ranked seasons. But we're also going to have co-op this year as well, which will be a really cool add-on too for the standings and all that. But kind of just like a free-for-all right there if you guys want to take a look at the standings and see who you guys compete in with all the other people that play MLB The Show. And then last, we have player updates right here, which we have supercharged cards. So if a player does really well on a certain day, they'll boost all of his attributes. You have the inside edge matching, which means technically if a player is doing good against maybe another set of players, then it'll get boost just with inside edge. And you have roster updates, which again will be a huge part of this channel right here. We'll talk about who you guys should invest in, how you guys make stubs in that, but roster updates are pretty much every 2 weeks. They go through and boost people's attributes. So it's a really key thing in how to make stubs on the show. We're going to go ahead and tab over to the play tab. Now, this will be the most extensive part of the video and the thing that you guys want to pay the most attention to. We do have some market stuff at the end there too, which will be really helpful for you guys. But we're going to start out here with the program. So pretty much ever since I played Diamond Dynasty, I think they brought them in MLB The Show 17, if I'm correct, and they've kind of been building off of programs. They kind of changed it this year. We're going to see how it will be this next year in MLB Show 23. But a huge thing they are adding back is Team Affinity, which pretty much Team Affinity is you grind each team and or division. They've done it differently in years past, but pretty much you're just grinding for all these rewards, all these sets of cards for each division and or team. You have to do Showdowns, you have to do Conquest, which is stuff I'll talk about here in just a minute, but it's a really cool add-on that they've did away with for some reason in MLB The Show 22, but they're bringing it back in 23, which will be huge W's. In MLB The Show 22, they ended up going with feature programs, which essentially they would last either from 2 weeks up until I think a month and a half or maybe even 2 months, where you're just trying to grind to get certain cards, certain stubs, certain all these just different things within MLB The Show Diamond Dynasty. So we're going to go ahead and hop into the Forever program right here. And I'm just going to go over kind of how they did programs, at least in MLB The Show 22, which should be pretty similar to MLB The Show 23. So you have different tasks that you're trying to complete to finish each program. And the first one is just gameplay. If you play the game, you're going to get XP towards the program. So make sure you guys play as much as you can. There are daily moments, which are things that should only take like 2 to 5 minutes to finish. Some of these are kind of long, but it's just like hit a home run, get a hit, tally 2 hits, extra base hit, just kind of things that you can do every single day to be moving towards that XP cap. We also have featured moment programs, which are a little bit longer, but again, a good way to get XP. I haven't done any of these because I ended up finishing off everything with this Forever program already. But again, kind of the same concept as daily, maybe just a little bit more intensive. Next, we have missions, which will be a part of every program. The missions could be get a certain amount of hits, get a certain amount of stolen bases. For this one, we have PXP, which PXP is something that your player will be gaining every time you use them in a game. So say you're using Mike Trout and you get a base hit, you'll get a certain amount of PXP for that, which then leads to parallel levels, which is another thing we get into in a little bit. But trying to get PXP for cards is a lot better than what it used to be. So it's a big W right there, and you're just trying to get as much as you can towards each mission program. Next, you'll have collections, which is something I'll talk a little bit more in depth here in just a little bit. But you'll pretty much have a card that you'll collect over time, and then you can just get some XP from that. We have all these different exchanges, which then you'll go into. You'll exchange players from different divisions. It could be certain sets of cards. You'll have to exchange a certain amount to get to the XP level. I usually don't do this because in the beginning, it's just really not worth it. Towards the end of the game, it doesn't really matter, but exchanges are a good thing to get some XP as well. Then we have some different game modes you can play, which I'll talk about a little bit more in depth here in just a second. You got Showdown, Conquest, just easy ways to get XP. And there's also March October, which is another game mode, technically outside of Diamond Dynasty. I would not mess with this. Go ahead and do all the stuff that's actually within Diamond Dynasty. And then they also ran this thing called other programs, which usually just tied to different players and just doing certain things like getting stat accumulation, playing against a computer. There's just a bunch of stuff you guys can do with this, which again should be a really cool thing in MLB The Show 23. They're going to be changing up a lot of stuff, so we'll end up seeing how this will play out. But again, just another side thing for you guys to do as you do these programs. Now we're going to get into single player modes. I'm going to try to get through these things as quick as possible because I will have individual videos on all of these. But we're going to start with mini seasons, which was a new thing added into MLB The Show 22. So they kind of made it a way that you can play against a computer to grind and get things in Diamond Dynasty, which they really never had in the past. Now, this will be a lot different in 23 than it is in 22. It was kind of a basis for it. Now, next year, they'll have different team concepts. They'll have different places you can play. But this one was the computer, but you were playing against people's Diamond Dynasty squads. So kind of hard to explain, but once you get into a game and you guys kind of play it out a little bit, you'll see that you're playing against actual people's Diamond Dynasty squads that you compete with. You have to do a certain amount of missions right here. So if you look at goals, you know, win the championship, but it goes all the way down through like doing goals throughout each season, using extra base hits, like all these different things that you would pretty much go towards to try to finish off mini seasons. It was a cool concept that they added to the game, but it kind of fell short, I think, in a lot of people's eyes. There was a lot of glitches with it in the beginning of the year, so that was kind of a not so great thing, but I will have a full video on this as well. Then we're going to go ahead and hop over into Conquest. And I think the best way to explain Conquest is me showing you what it kind of looks like. So this is the USA map that they have every year in MLB The Show. I think Conquest started in 17 as well. I could be wrong about that, but I think that's when it first started. So Conquest, if you guys ever played Risk, is kind of the same thing. You're trying to gain all these territories, trying to beat all these strongholds, and take over the entire map. These will all be 3-inning games against the computer, or at least that's how it has been in the past. We'll see if they change it up for MLB The Show 23, which I don't think they will. But 3-inning games, you beat the computer, you try to take over the map. This one takes quite a while to do, but they have different ones to do throughout the entire year. They only have a certain set right here, right now, but I think all in all, we had like 40 or 50 different maps, which we should get that many in MLB The Show 23. Again, I'll have a full video on how to complete this, the quickest way to do it, so be on the lookout for that. Last, we're going to go ahead and talk about Showdown, which essentially you draft a team, you get some perks, you go against a computer, you try to beat them in each little individual game, and then you go to a final boss and you have to beat them throughout that time period as well. I'll go ahead and hop into one of these super quick just to show you guys kind of what they look like, but Here we go right here. You start a draft. This one, entry fee is 500 stubs. They'll change. You'll gain subs by doing it. You'll get certain things, rewards by doing it. But once again, right here, you have all these mini bosses that you have to beat, and then you have the final boss. You just have to score enough runs to beat them. They're pretty simple, not too hard. Again, we'll have a video on that too. We're going to go ahead and talk about online modes for MLB The Show because they're adding some new things this year. So first off, we have ranked seasons. I'm going to go ahead and clump ranked seasons and co-op together because that's kind of how they're doing it this year. So you have a ranked season solo, which is what it was in years past. And you'll have a ranked seasons co-op, which you can go into a game and actually play with your friends. So in ranked seasons, you'll start out with a rating. And what you're trying to do is make World Series. You'll play games. Along the way, you'll get all these different rewards. But you're pretty much trying to get the World Series because there are really, really good rewards to make it to World Series. And you can go above it as well, but at this point, going above it, really, the rewards you get for it are not worth going above. And there are some people that are absolute demons at this game. And we don't want to be doing this anywhere right when MLB The Show starts because those guys are all be grinding that. You want to stay away from online play in the beginning. But if you want your toes wet, go ahead and be my guest to go into ranked seasons. Then we'll go ahead and go to Battle Royale, which is my favorite thing. It's the thing that I play the most in MLB The Show. You try to draft a team, which right here, you have a 26-man squad. You try to rack up wins. So you try to go 12-0 to get a flawless pack. And usually it's kind of the best reward in that game period at that time. It's probably the hardest thing to do, which most people, especially if you're a beginner, probably won't do in the game. But it is a lot of fun. There are a lot of different ways to get the flawless pack. Now they have programs you guys can go ahead and follow. So the Battle Royale program right here, again, it's another thing where you're just getting missions for Battle Royale. So all these different things like go 12-0, win a game. But there's also these series-based or player-based ones, which you get PXP with, and that goes towards this program, which I assume they're going to do the exact same because they've kind of been gearing towards doing this again. So you get all these different rewards by just completing the program and not going 12-0. And the last online thing I'm going to talk about is events, which kind of is like the lowest tier. So it goes events, Battle Royale, ranked seasons, and then obviously we'll have the co-op stuff in there as well. But events are kind of like a more relaxed, kind of chill environment to play online. They have different restrictions you can go ahead and base it off of. So if you look at the Moonshot event right now, we have any hitter. You can only use common pitchers. There's certain overalls, difficulty, certain times to get in games. And also, I should say, events are free. Battle Royale, you actually have to pay stubs. It's 1,500, I think. We'll see if they do the exact same thing for MLB The Show 23. But a lot of people grind events. You can get some pretty good rewards from this. So if you are a beginner, I would definitely say start in the event category. Work your way up to Battle Royale, then to ranked seasons, because I think it'll pay dividends for you guys. Another really important thing in Diamond Dynasty is your inventory, so make sure you guys are checking this regularly. We're going to start with the MLB players, which each team has a page full of players that you're trying to collect. You have live series players, which means they're players that are playing right now on that team. And you have flashbacks, which could be legends, which the term legends in MLB The Show is used really loosely. It's just players that have retired that aren't in actual MLB anymore. And then they have flashbacks, which would be cards that are in the game right now, but it's flashback to cards that they've had before. So a really good example of this would be, let me see if I can find Jonathan VR. So Jonathan VR obviously still plays in the MLB right now, but this is back when he played for the Orioles back in, look, there's, I don't see it. Oh, 2019. So you can have flashback cards as well. So what you're trying to do right here is you're trying to collect every single card in the game. That's like the ideal thing for Diamond Dynasty. Again, there's teams for all of these right here. You have Diamond, you have Gold, you have Silver players. The Diamond players are the best, obviously, that go all the way down to Common players, which are guys that aren't just that great in the game. Next, you have your equipment and perks. Now, this is a big thing if you're using a created player, which I don't personally use, but you guys can use if you want to. But pretty much trying to collect these equipment items will give you certain boosts to your player. So you see in the bottom right corner, you have a +6 to power and +6 to contact. You put that in your created player, and it pretty much makes them better than what they are. You also have perks as well, which are used for created players that are just, again, just a bunch of different things that make your player better. I should note, these are just for created players, not for players in the game already. They will not boost your team if they aren't a real player. So I don't know why sponsorships are in Diamond Dynasty, because you really can't use them in Diamond Dynasty. They're for franchise. We're going to skip over that. You have Unlockables, which again are just things that you unlock throughout time. These are kind of like where you get your jerseys, just a bunch of cool like stadium sounds, noises, all that good stuff. Here are all your stadiums you're going to be collecting, which I think they're adding in 5 new stadiums this year, maybe some more from that too, but they're all Major League stadiums and kind of some throwback stadiums right there too. So we have Old Miami, the Metrodome, all that stuff right there. And then you have packs too, which I have a crap ton of packs. If you guys see this, this is not how many packs you guys will get. I just happen to have a bunch of stubs in packs because I've been saving up for a very long time. But there are a ton of different packs in the game you guys will be getting. And make sure you guys are opening them and do what you want with them. But they're a really big addition to MLB The Show. So with the inventory, we add on 2 collections. Like I was saying, you're trying to collect all these different cards. There are all these different things that'll be in MLB The Show. I don't know how it will be in 23 exactly, but they always have these different collections that we're going to be doing. So in the beginning, you'll have starter collections, which you're trying to collect, you know, collect outfielders, collect infielders. These are really simple to do, so make sure you do these right off the rip. And then you kind of get more in depth with the live series collection. Like I was saying earlier, you're trying to collect every card in the game, because if you do, then you end up collecting somebody like Randy Johnson. Now it'll be somebody different next year, but Randy Johnson was a really big add in MLB The Show 22. We'll see who it'll be in 23. Could be Jeter, you know, he's coming to the game, but this is always a card you definitely want to have off the rip as soon as you can. Then there are just some other smaller ones too, like collect stadiums, uniforms, all that stuff. But collections are a huge part of Diamond Dynasty, so make sure you guys are taking advantage of that, looking at when you guys need to collect things, because they are a really, really big part of how MLB The Show actually plays out. And then lastly, I kind of want to talk about the marketplace. Again, I will not go super in depth right here, but I will have a how to make stubs video, which will help you guys out a ton right here. Just want to give you guys some tips and pointers on this. So the marketplace will be all inclusive of MLB players, equipment, sponsorships, unlockables, stadiums, all this good stuff right here. But this is kind of the free market of MLB The Show in Diamond Dynasty, where we kind of set the prices because we try to gauge what cards are more usable maybe, or just more obtainable for you. So certain cards will be worth a lot more than others. So we go ahead and take a look at like somebody like Joey Votto. He is a 99 overall card, but he's only going for 35,000 subs right now. Now again, this is towards the end of the year of MLB The Show 22, so it'll be crazy when 23 starts. I think last year my chat was like 400 or 500 subs in the beginning, so it does ebb and flow throughout the entire year. One really important thing I want to note is the buy now and the sell now right here. So I can go ahead and buy Joey Votto for 35,999 stubs right now, or I can create a buy order, put it in for 13,100 stubs, and then wait for somebody to sell them to me automatically. And what I mean by that is if I go into Joey Votto, I can go and create a buy order. So if I do a buy order for 13,100 stubs, finalize that order, now I'm the first order for sell now. So instead of somebody trying to go in and try to sell Joey Votto for 35,000 some other stubs, they can sell them perfectly right now to me for 13,100 stubs. And that way you can actually buy cards for a really, really big discounted price. If you look right here, the difference is about 22,000 stubs. It is really important to work this as good as you can, because you can save you a ton of stubs in the long run. Like I said, the market will continually change throughout the year. If somebody's really hot in a game, or if they have a really good stretch, their price will keep going up, especially those live series players. If a new player just drops, it'll be super expensive off the rip, but it kind of just changes throughout the entire year. So make sure you guys are looking at the marketplace, doing some good research on that. One really, really good thing to use is the Showzone.gg. Showzone is a really, really helpful tool that helps out a ton of people. I found it out, I think in 2018 or 19, and it kind of just shows you guys the best market trends, all these different things. So if you guys want to sign up for that, use code RAY, you get 10% off your discount right there. You can also use it for free as well, but it is super helpful, and I promise you guys, you will want to use it as much as you can. Now, that pretty much does it for this video right here. Hopefully, it helps you guys out, kind of teach you guys a little bit about MLB The Show. If you guys did find it helpful, please do leave a like for me. Make sure you guys subscribe as well. We're trying to build this channel. I think we're at like 100 subs right now. So if you guys can do a huge favor and keep subscribing and liking the video, that'll help out a ton. Leave any comments down below if you guys have any questions. I would love to help you guys out. Try to respond to them as quick as possible. But thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out.